Okay, so the first question on our quiz was supposed to be a basic U sub question. Some of you got distracted because we had covered trigonometric integrals and you really wanted, because it had tangents and secants running about, to use some sort of trig identity. Unfortunately, the Pythag theorem here doesn't really help us because we don't have our tangent squared. Now we could rewrite secant in terms of tangent, but that's not going to help us at all. So what I was hoping you would recognize is we clearly have an inside function, right? We have something other than just x being raised to the fifth power, and that's usually a good indication that we're in U sub land. So you just try that out, right? So u is equal to 1 plus tangent of x, which then means my du, well, she is secant squared x dx. And that's exactly what we needed. So if you did this U sub, this was an incredibly straightforward question because we're already here. We have our u to the fifth power. Our du is perfectly in the problem. And so all we needed to do was a quick little power rule to get to 1/6 u to the 6 plus c, and then one more substitution to go back to x. All right, so that was our final answer. Some of you took a path where you didn't choose the most efficient U sub, right? You did something like u is equal to tangent of x, which still gave you the du you needed, right? Because you needed a secant squared running about. So you had this. But then you ended up at a problem that wasn't nearly as clean. You had the antiderivative of 1 plus ru to the fifth. Gotta have my cute colors, you know me, du. And this is where some of you then got into trouble. So I think one person successfully expanded out this gnarly thing right here. No reason to do that, but you could have. Other folks went, oh crap, like this would be great if I had another U sub, and they did a secondary U sub on this one. So they went ahead and said, okay, well, let's make some other variable, let's call it a, equal to 1 plus u, which then means dA is equal to du. And then they were able to rewrite this thing as a to the fifth dA and go through that same process that we did on the previous screen. Some of y'all managed to skip doing a U sub at all from this point because you recognize this is just a nice little linear bit, and so you had a kind of a chain rule going on and you jumped straight to the right answer. So there were a handful of ways to get there. One other common mistake that I saw though here was thinking that we could rewrite this as 1 to the fifth plus u to the fifth. That is absolutely untrue, right? That is one of those like quintessential dead puppies that I talk about in terms of algebra rules. So that was pretty much put you dead in the water for this particular problem. But that was question 1. That was what I was hoping for. Just a indefinite integral with U sub.